All right, thank you all and welcome to session 2 of our AEP educational series. Glad you could all join us today. If you were unable to make the first one, the recording is available online, so you can go back and view that. We're also going to put this recording online later on today or tomorrow as well. So if you have any cohorts that you'd like to send this to and so they can view the recording as well, please do. Just a couple of quick housekeeping issues. If you would, make sure that your mics or phones are on mute throughout the session. Feel free to drop questions in chat throughout the presentations. We'll try and field those as we go along. In addition, we're going to have some time hopefully we'll have some time at the end to field questions regarding today's presentations or any other thing regarding the AEP program. If you want to, when we're doing questions, if you want to take yourself off mute and ask the question verbally, feel free to do so. Just go back on mute after you're done so we can make sure that the presenters have the floor when they're doing their presentations. First off, I really want to thank Ken Heckman and Axia Cooperative, our educational partner. They've sponsored this year's webinars, allowing us to bring you all of this information at no cost. I know Ken's joining us today. If you have any questions later on about Axia Cooperative, feel free to ask those at the end, or you can find Ken on his website at Axia Cooperative. Is that right, Ken?
AxiaCoop.org.
AxiaCoop.org. Perfect. Thank you so much, and we appreciate the sponsorship again, Ken. All right, on to today's presentations. We've got a couple of great ones for you today. We're covering 2 of the application criteria. First off is going to be it's Criterion 15, Sustainable Procurement Policy Program, and Sustainable Procurement Best Practices. Today, that's going to be presented by Christina Pryor. And Christina, I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself and go on with your presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. 1 second while I bring some stuff up that I can share with everybody. I am Christina Pryor. I am the Procurement and Materials Senior Manager. We recently had title changes, so I still don't get it right.
That's why I didn't introduce you, because I forgot what your new title was.
With the city of Chandler. I've been with the city of Chandler for about 10 years. Before that, I was with the city of Tucson for about 10 years. And I've had the pleasure of serving on the AEP evaluation committee for a few years now. And I have also seen the changes that have come about to our Criterion 15. And the truth of the matter is, everybody, this one's tough. This one is a hard one. And frankly, my organization doesn't qualify since we made the changes to become more broadly focused in our definition of sustainable procurement. So I really wanted to start today with talking a little bit about what sustainable procurement is. And it is textbook definition, the act of adopting social, economic, and environmental factors alongside the typical price and quality considerations in your procurement processes. So sustainable procurement focuses on environmental benefits, it focuses on social benefits, and it focuses on economic benefits. So in environmental, we're looking at energy consumption, reduction of waste, reduction of carbon emissions, resource efficiency. Social benefits, we're looking for, that's promoting equal treatment at work, the well-being of the workforce and the communities that we serve, enhancing the community engagement, and really putting pressure on our markets to be responsible for their environmental actions. And then, of course, economic benefits, ensuring the security of supply, a safe environment for workers, business continuity, and savings through efficient resource usage. So in Criterion 15A, when we're looking at your sustainable procurement program, we're looking for that more holistic approach to a program, rather than something that is focused on a preference for recycled materials, a preference for green cleaning products, a preference for any energy efficient electronic devices, or a LEED building program, for example. When we're going into Criterion B, we are referencing the SPLC's inventory checklist of best practices, and they have 7 different categories of best practices. We understand that everyone is in a different place on their journey to a sustainable procurement program. And so what we are looking for is that you are making progress on at least one of these best practices. And we're looking for 50% in the yes checkbox for that inventory checklist for at least one of those best practices. We'll get to that in just a second. So I'm going to switch over to the actual instructions in our application. Again, we talk a little bit more about the fact that we're looking for something that is more holistic. And for A, we want a submittal that contains the formal sustainable procurement policy or program. We want to see the document, website policy, whatever it might be, that defines the program structure and the plan. And then we're looking for executive level commitment, whether that's at your executive level leadership within the organization, or that is through your governing body, however that might be. It might be adoption through an ordinance or a resolution. It might be formal adoption through a leadership level memo. It can be any of those things, but we are looking for that executive level commitment. In the implementation of the best practices, we are looking for what you have targeted on the list of best practices from the SPLC inventory checklist, and for you to be able to document your progress on 50% or more of at least one of those best practices. So let's go ahead and switch over to the SPLC inventory checklist, which you can get to from that link right here within our application instructions. This is what the inventory checklist looks like. And when you get eyes on this, it's not quite so intimidating. So the best practices are very clearly set out, the relevant environmental, social, and economic priorities, goals and metrics, staff engagement, goods and services evaluation and transparency, supplier engagement, supplier development, communications, and designing a program around the purchasing activities and formalizing that program. So you may be making progress in any one of these best practices, but let's say you are just getting started and you've chosen to start with this best practice, the set relevant environmental, social, and economic priorities. We want to see that you are able to check that yes box in at least 50% of these sub items under that best practice, and then show us how you're doing that. Brian, any questions in the chat you want me to address so far?
Not yet, Christina. Doing very well. We did get a comment from Nicole saying that she loves that we're using SPLC's checklist, and I agree with that. We partnered with SPLC about 4 years ago to update this criterion, and they are an AEP program supporter. So we're thankful for our relationship with SPLC. I did want to comment real quick though, Christina, on one thing that you mentioned, which was check the boxes and then show us. A lot of times we'll see applications where people say, we do that, we do this, but then they don't show us the backup documentation. So make sure that you have that backup included in this criterion and then all of the other criteria throughout the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. All right, so I'm going to move over to some of our model submittals for this criterion, both in A and in B. And they're both a little bit different. So again, we don't put constraints on you as to how you present the information that you're presenting to us. But we do love to see clear, concise information. I'm going to jump over to the city of Portland as one of our model submittals. And again, the model submittals are available to our NPI members on our website. They are an incredible resource. You'll see so many different ways of presenting information. And in this criterion specifically, you're going to see model submittals for people who are in different places in their journey to a formal sustainable procurement program. So this is the city of Portland, Oregon. And Portland has a very, very comprehensive policy. As you can see, and it addresses everything about their sustainable procurement program. And if anybody else has attained this level of a sustainable procurement program, congratulations. This is truly a very high level program. And it addresses, again, here it's very comprehensive in what it covers. So it's covering everything from greenhouse gases, harmful chemical reduction, supplier diversity, fair, safe supply chains. It outlines very specifically roles and responsibilities, what all city employees are going to do to support the program, what elected officials are going to do, what the role of procurement in implementing this policy is, and so on. So going back to what we're asking you to submit, here is a copy of the formal sustainable procurement policy or program. There's the copy of the document and the evidence of executive level commitment is at the end of the document with the, and I won't scroll all the way down there, I'll make myself dizzy just trying to get there, where it is formally adopted and signed by the governing body. Again, this is a very comprehensive program that I know that Portland and knowing the procurement official who recently moved on to another opportunity, they have an enormous amount of blood, sweat, and tears really invested in bringing this this policy to bear.
Christina, one quick comment, and then we've got a question in the chat before you move on to the next best practice. The comment is that all the best practices that we're showing here are available on NPI's website for NPI members. And just a quick plug, if you're not a member of NPI, please make sure you join up prior to submitting your AEP application. Not only will you get the ability to download all of the best practices from last year, you also receive a $200 discount on the AEP application fee. Membership is only $130. So you save $70 by becoming a member, access to model submittals, and then there's also additional discounts and benefits of being an NPI member. So a quick plug there. Question came in for you, Christina. It says, for the checklist, SPLC checklist, is it 50% overall or 50% per category?
So let's go back to our AEP application. So what we are looking for is your submission must include at least one best practice from the following. So here is the list of the best practices in the SPLC checklist. So at least one best practice from this list. For the submitted best practices, demonstrate implementation of at least 50% of the relevant requirements. So if you are choosing, if you're beginning your journey and you're choosing to start with the best practice of setting relevant environmental, social, and economic priorities, we want to see that you've implemented at least 50% of the activities under that best practice. Does that make sense?
Simone, did that answer your question? She says yes. Perfect. Thank you.
Let's go to Solano County. Again, we're still in 15A. So Solano County, they too have a comprehensive policy. It's not quite as detailed as the city of Portland, but as you can see, they are looking for, or they have a more holistic approach, and they are trying to increase their efficiency in resource usage, reduce toxicity and pollution, and look for products that have recycled content and are sustainably harvested. So in their submission, and they have beautiful pictures, by the way. Isn't that gorgeous? Absolutely beautiful. So again, they have submitted their policy in its entirety. So now let's switch over to B, which can be a little bit more of a challenging thing to demonstrate. So B, of course, is the piece where we're looking for you to document where and support how you check, where you checked yes. We'll go to City of Portland first. And something the City of Portland did. So here they outlined specifically that they want to talk about the goods and services evaluation and transparency best practice. And under each one of those under that best practice, they have called out what they have done to actually take action on the items that are underneath that best practice. Where they're able to provide supporting documentation in the form of articles or policies. They've either provided those or provided us with links. And yes, we do check them. And something Portland did several years ago is something that is available through the SPLC. And you might want to consider it as you bring a sustainable procurement program into your organization. So the SPLC actually does what is an individual assessment and final report that basically will show you where, or help you determine where your agency is in its readiness to create and implement a sustainable procurement program. I'm not saying you have to go out and do this. I'm just saying that it's a tool that's available through the SPLC that can help you gauge your readiness and where your organization might already be that you just may not be aware of, that you can build on from there. I'm going to move over to Arizona State University. And don't tell anybody that I'm a U of A grad, Brian. And living in the Phoenix area and being a U of A grad is well, frowned upon.
Hey, I think U of A is playing in the Sweet 16 tonight, not Arizona State Sun Devils. So
Oh, we'll have a laugh about that later because I was there in '97.
Oh yeah.
So here's ASU's supporting documentation for Criterion 15B. So implementation of best practices. They have called out and they've chosen to do it in a narrative format. This is the first best practice. And then the activity beneath that best practice. Again, where there are documents to further support, they've either provided those documents or provided links. And where they haven't achieved a certain activity yet, and they have responded with no. So rather than complete the inventory checklist, they've chosen instead to respond in a narrative, which is just fine. Again, addressing goals and metrics, another one of the best practices. Where they claim to meet, they are also providing backup documentation to demonstrate it. And they're fairly well along in their sustainable procurement journey as well. But I do encourage you, please, not everybody is this far along in their sustainability journey. And admittedly, as I said at the beginning, I no longer qualify, my organization no longer qualifies for this criterion, because our policy is focused solely on a reduce, reuse, recycle program. So preference for recycled products is the basis of our policy. So although I evaluate it, I actually can't submit for it. So any questions you'd like me to address? Because I know I'm starting to eat into Kim's time on the next criterion.
Thanks, Christina. I will address one item. We just realized that the link to SPLC's checklist is broken on our online PDF version. So
Oh.
we'll fix that and get that reposted today.
Thanks, Brian.
Any other questions for Christina before we move on? All right, I'm not seeing any additional questions in the chat. If you have any, we can address those at the end, but we'll go ahead and switch over now. Thank you again, Christina, appreciate it. We're going to switch over to Criterion 10, which is certification of CPO and staff. And presenting on that today, we have Kim Gould from Dallas County. So go ahead and take over, Kim.
Okay, well, I get my screen up to share. I just thank everyone for being here today. I'm with Dallas County. I've been with Dallas County for about 4 years. I'm also an AEP evaluator. I lost count on the years, but it's somewhere between 8 and 10 years, I believe. And today we're going to talk about me finding my PowerPoint again.
While you're doing that, we can talk
Right.
basketball if anybody wants to bet on who's going to win the tournament.
So Brian, if you remember 1997, I was actually, I was bartending on 4th Avenue that night.
Well, I was probably drinking from you on 4th Avenue that night. Because I remember that very well. And we got a little crazy when U of A became the first team ever to knock off 3 #1 seeds on the way to a championship. Unfortunately, they haven't done it since, but maybe this is our year.
This could be our year.
All right, Kim's up and ready.
Now I got it. Now I don't feel so bad. It's like, where did everything go? So today we're just going to go through the criterion of the Chief Procurement Officer. I have some notes. I got to find them somewhere here. And the value of the certification in public procurement. We're going to go over the accepted certification designations that are earned for the Chief Procurement Official and for the staff, eligible staff. We're going to talk about eligible staff on 10B. We're going to go over some model submittals and some common pitfalls. So professional certification has many benefits for the agency, for the staff, and the profession itself. Certification demonstrates the knowledge and capability of the procurement leaders and the staff. Certification provides authority and to all of procurement professionals organizations, and it validates that you have the experiences and certifications that are well qualified to guide the agency's purchasing functions. So here I've just listed some of my favorites, some that are out on the NIGP, on UPPCC, and different organizations of certifications that we accept. Continued professional development opportunities are defined as a path for growth, and it provides the agency's confidence in the procurement process. So on 10A, which is the accepted certification designations earned by the chief procurement official, the ones that we accept for that designation is the Certified Professional in Supply Chain Management, CPSM, Certified Purchasing Manager, CPM, Certified Purchasing Officer, CPPO, Certified Professional Contracts Manager, CPCM, Supply Chain Management Professional, SCMP, and NIGP, Certified Procurement Professional, NIGP-CPP. One of the common things that we see in this area is when people are submitting their Criterion content for this, is that they don't have the correct certification, or they're mistaking some of these for state or other regional certifications that our organization does not accept. And periodically, annually, when someone comes up with them, the AEP committee does review all the certifications that are brought up to see if they meet the certification designation criteria within our application. So accepted certification for the designation earned by professional staff is different because we take also add in the CPPB, which is a certified professional buyer from NIGP, the certified contract manager associates from CCMA, and the supply chain management professional, the SCMP, are added to the deck. So I'm going to bring up the whole criterion in the application, but one of the biggest pitfalls is not defining your eligible staff when it comes to 10B. So eligible staff are those that have been in public procurement for 3 or more years. Professionals, and then the other one is the professional staff. What are you stating as your professional staff? For example, at Dallas County, we have senior contract specialists, and buyers. So we also have inventory and we have admin staff. So we don't count our inventory or admin staff in our professional staff, only those that actually do the procurement function. And if you're claiming someone that is not a typical position, professional staff within the procurement field, you need to provide a narrative explaining why this position is not recognized as a professional, or maybe why it is. And the total number of professional staff includes the chief procurement official. So for instance, if you have a staff of 4 and you need the 75% criteria to be awarded this area, 3 of the 4 people in your office, including your chief procurement official, would have to have the certification. So we're going to go through the model submittals first for 10A, and that is the certification of the chief procurement official. This is from the city of Tempe. In our submittal requests, we ask that you provide a narrative about your chief procurement official, who they work for, what their name is, their title, how long they've been with the entity, and who they report to. Is not, I mean, I don't think it's necessary on this one. They just have it in here. In this case, they're providing an organizational chart showing that they're the procurement administrator or the chief procurement official and their staff. It talks about their certification, when they became certification, their certification number. And then next they will submit, in this case, instead of submitting the certification, they submitted a screenshot from their certification website. And that is perfectly acceptable. The next one we're going to look at is Granite District Purchasing. So Granite submitted their narrative, who the chief procurement official is, and a copy of their ISM webpage validating their certification. The most important thing to remember is we need to have communication on each bullet point that we're asking you to submit something on, so we can see that and verify it. And then they submitted their organizational chart showing the chief procurement official. And their certification. This is a lifetime, but it never expires. I'll go ahead and say a common pitfall in submitting these applications is that the agencies will submit documentation that is expired. Sometimes if we can go out and verify that in fact it had been renewed, we can do that. But if it's expired and it's no longer on there, we're not able to verify it. We would not be able to award points. The next model submittal is on 10B, North Texas Municipal Water District. B asks for more information because we want to see your organizational chart, a list of your staff, their certifications, their issuance date, their certification expiration, and we want to know if they're a professional staff, if they're considered a professional staff, and if they're eligible. So eligibility needs to be noted on here. If you are claiming them as a professional staff, but they haven't been in the procurement profession for 3 years, then you would need to state in your chart their start date and their eligibility date to become certified. And they're stating that they're 100% certified. And and I'll just go back so I can show you, one of the things that we ask as evaluators is that however you have them listed in your chart, that you please list the certification certificates in the same order, or the screenshots of the certification in the same order. It's very helpful because we have to go back and forth to verify all the documentation. So if they're in that correct order all the way through, it's very helpful to us. And they're just showing that all of their certifications are good. We check the expiration dates on all of them to make sure they're in good standing. Oops. And I think I went over all my common pitfalls. And Brian, I guess this question would be for you because I drew a blank. So if they have a question on if their certification is acceptable or not to the AEP, do they send an email to somebody to clarify that question?
Yeah, Kim, they can submit questions to me at aep@npiconnection.org, and I'll answer those. But note that the certifications that qualify are all listed on the application.
That's correct. But oftentimes I know people have, because the acronyms are very similar to what we post and they need some clarification. And I think that's one of the most common pitfalls, especially like here in the state of Texas. The state of Texas certification acronyms actually model what we have for some of the national certifications.
Yeah, Texas and Florida both have their own certifications. And just to comment on that, we're always, we get questions every year. Does this certification count? Does this certification not count? And just let everybody know, we look at national certification. So it's great to be certified in Texas. It's great to be certified in Florida, if that's where you work. But what we look at are certifications that can be obtained by anybody, right? Whether you work in those states or not. So the certifications that we have listed are the current ones that we do accept. But you're right. Procurement professionals live in acronym hell. So make sure that we take a look at those. And if you have another certification that you think should be considered, feel free to send that to me again at aep@npiconnection.org. I will let everybody know that we're looking at APIC certifications this year to see if we can add those to our list of accepted certifications.
So Brian, we have a question for Texas. Are we including CTCM and CTCD? The answer to that will be no, that's a state certification that AEP does not recognize.
Also see, let me go back through a couple of these questions here. Listing their start date and eligibility date is not in the submission area. Can that please be included next year? We can take a look at that. My assumption is that we're referring to the 3-year requirement and saying they haven't been there for 3 years, so why are they not? We can look at modifying that criteria. Each employee needs to have the certification screenshot. Yes, if you're claiming certification, we need a photo, a PDF of their actual certification, or a link to the website where it's going to show that certification. And then curious where I find the 75% criterion of professional staff for certifications. That is detailed under 10B.
10B.
And what if we only have one person, a purchasing agent in our procurement division? Can we get the points for both 10A and 10B? And the answer is yes. I used to be the only procurement professional at my prior role at the town of Oro Valley in Arizona, and I was able to get those points as well. All right. So it looks like we have about 15 minutes left. We're happy to continue to field questions on the presentations today or questions on anything under the AEP program. I will say that thank you for pointing out that our application link was broken, or excuse me, the SPLC link was broken in the application. I think it's already fixed. Craig is so fast, and I just verified it is. So if you go to the AEP application, the PDF version on our website, that link is now fixed. So thank you, Craig, for doing that. All right, another question. So to clarify, list 20 employees, but only 5 are eligible, all 5 certificates. Would we qualify? Yes, if only 5 are eligible, then the 75% is based on those 5. And just to give a little background, I know we have a lot of questions on the eligible staff. And certifications, most of them, I can't recall off the top of my head the ISM certifications, but UPPCC and NIGP both have time requirements. Depending on your level of degree, how much time you've been in the procurement profession in order to be certified. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to penalize you for if you have new employees have only been on the job 1 or 2 years, they really can't get certified. So that's why we defined eligible staff as those that have been there 3 years or longer. And in addition, obviously, if you had if you have warehouse, mail rooms, fleet, things like that, generally speaking, they're not going to get professional certifications. So we include that as part of the eligible staff definition as well. So only those individuals that are involved in traditional procurement functions, buying, contracting, that sort of thing. All right, will this video be emailed to everyone, or will there be an email sent out with the link to this video? And the answer is no, no emails, but it will be posted. And real quick, I'm going to share my screen and show you all where that's posted. And that is, let me find. Okay, wrong screen. Let me make sure that I have, there it is. So in short, we post the videos the same place where you registered for the educational series, which is the NPI website, npi-aep.org. It's under the AEP award banner. And if you scroll down to AEP educational series and click on that, this is where you're going to find the video that we post. So the first one is posted here already, the one that from March 14th. And then when we're done today, we're going to post the new one under the March 28th section here. And then so on and so forth for the April 11th and then the April 25th session. All right, let me go back to the chat here. Looks like we don't have any additional questions. Again, feel free to put questions in chat, or now that the presentations are done, you can open up your line and ask your questions verbally if you wish to do so. We still have about 15 minutes left. So any additional questions on the application process, applying, membership, model submittals, payment? Just give another minute here. Are there any certifications you recommend for someone that has been in public procurement for less than 1 year? You know, that's a good question, Kevin. I honestly, off the top of my head, I don't know of any certifications that you can get, public certifications that you can get for less than 1 year. I would recommend checking out the certification offered by I think it's the, why can't I think of the acronyms? Contract Management Association, is that it? They offer the Certified Professional Contracts Manner, and they also have added a Certified Contract Management Associate, or CCMA. And now it's from NCMA. There's the acronym, National Contract Management Association. So check out the Certified Contract Management Associate. Again, I don't know off the top of my head that if it has a requirement for years in the profession, but that might be a good one to take a look at. ISM does not offer the APP any longer, the Accredited Purchasing Practitioner, so that's not available. All right, any other questions? Oh, I got one from Tracy. Is there a place online to see the model submittals? And again, yes, there is. The model submittals are only available for NPI members, but I'm going to once again show you here on my screen how you would get there if you are a member. Now, again, if you're not a member, but someone in your organization is a member, you can have them log in and download those model submittals for you. Or you can sign up as a member. Again, it's only $130. You get access to the model submittals discount on the AEP application that is greater than the cost to apply, or excuse me, greater than the cost of membership. So I'm just logging in to the member portal here. And then once I log in, if you hover over the members only tab, you can see access is granted here to the AEP model submittals. And we've got all of what we do each year for those who aren't familiar with the model submittals is the evaluators will choose 4 to 5 model submittals from each of the criteria. And we upload those to our website each year. So you can go back in if you're having issues with, let's say, Criterion 5, and you want to see someone else that has done that. We've got City of Austin, Claremont, City of Orlando, Clayton County, and Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, for an example. So we list the model submittals. We upload them each year. Note that sometimes the criteria change, and as such, the model submittal might not be identical to what's required for this year. So make sure that you cross-reference, if you're looking at the model submittals, you cross-reference what are the requirements for the actual criterion this year. All right. I don't see any other questions. The last couple minutes here, we still have 10. If you would like to put anything in the chat or open up your line and ask, feel free to do so.
I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
Okay, so there's about 5 people on the procurement team. I believe Nuran asked this question, but I wanted to clarify. Just to be 1000% sure. So there's 5 procurement professionals in our departments that we recognize as procurement. I have less than 1 year experience in public procurement. I know the requirements is so for that 75%, I would not be counted in that, correct? So instead of 4 people needing to pass, technically only 3 people will need to pass.
Yes, that is correct. I would just
Okay,
recommend
awesome.
that in your submission, notate that you are not eligible due to work history. And then you're correct. It would be 3 out of 4 instead of 4 out of 5.
Appreciate it.
You bet. I do want to Althea Pimsel, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. She sent me a message that says ISM is coming out with an equivalent to the APP at a slightly higher level. It's her understanding that it's going to be called Associate in Supply Chain Management for Student. It says it emphasizes the major competencies of supply management include sourcing, category management, negotiation, legal and contractual, supplier relationship, and financial analysis. That's great. Appreciate you sending that information along. We'll definitely take a look at that one as well. My only caveat would be if it's only for students, it wouldn't really apply. But if it's available to procurement professionals, we'll definitely take a look at that. Got another question. Can you submit the same answer for the following year if it still meets the criteria, or do I have to change it? Great question. And I would say as long as it meets the requirements of the criterion, take a look at the date requirements. A lot of our criteria have date. So for example, has to be, if you're doing a presentation, the presentation has to be done on or after January 1st, 2022, I think. I think we have presentations slided for every 2 years. But yeah, definitely if it meets the time requirements, you can submit the same thing. I'll just give you a good example. Criterion 1, which is procurement ethics policy, that you can submit the same each year, assuming it doesn't change. It hasn't changed in a while, but there's no date requirements on that criteria for your ethics policy. So just take a look at the dates. Also note, the application is really centered around the prior calendar year. We do have dates that go back, for your procurement manual, and you only have to have updated 5 years. Surveys are every 3 years, I think. Again, I think the presentation is 2 years. There are, RFPs, things like that are every year. But also note that we never start earlier than January 1st of the prior year. And we give you up until the time that you submit. So for example, if you're showing an RFP that you've done for a best value solicitation, anything after January 1st of 2023, as long as it's completed, will apply. So if you fill out your application on April 15th, let's say, while you're doing your taxes, and you had a solicitation that was completed on February 1st of 2024, that works. So basically you get a year and 5.5 months up until May 15th for anything to account for that application. So it's a little bit of extra time. All right, got about 5 minutes left. Any additional questions? All right, not seeing anything. I will remind you all, you can always reach me at aep@npiconnection.org. You can find all our information on the National Procurement Institute website, which is npi-aep.org. The application, the submittal, the submission process, the AEP portal, model submittals, you'll find everything there. And you can always, again, reach out to me at that email address. Real quick reminder, we've got 2 more of these sessions. We got one 2 weeks from today, so make sure you sign up for that. And then our last one, our 4th session, is going to be in April, 4 weeks from today, and I can't remember the exact date of that. But make sure that you sign up for those. If you have any questions for me or any questions for Ken Hetman from Axia Co-op, go ahead and send those in. We appreciate you all coming, and I appreciate the attendance. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all next time.